Welcome back to the Marching Arts Network podcast. I am the Stressmaster.
And I am your friendly neighborhood tumor. And as I say every week, it's not because I'm malignant, simply because at one point I marched next to this guy in spot number B9.
Yes,
I'm getting good
indeed.
with figuring out where to point and everything now, you know.
Well, but on my screen it's reversed.
So, I know. I'm like, well, listen, you know, I suppose technically I'm a content creator now. I think I might even be an influencer, you know.
Oh my gosh, you are influencing something. I don't know quite what it is, but you are influencing. Same here. And thank you for doing all those videos. They are really cool. And if you guys have missed any of them, go back and watch them now. And the only way you can get notified when we have new videos is to do what? What can you do?
Well, there's this thing you can do. It's called a subscribe button down there. Speaking of subscribers, 2,000. We made 2,000. Now, I've set out a goal, 3,000 by the start of the season.
That's right, 3,000. And in actuality, let me see here. Let me go to our channel here. We're at 2.03 thousand.
We're getting there.
Yes, so that's good. Good news in the neighborhood. Sorry, there was a little playing there. But let's go ahead.
Good in the hood.
That's right. So we actually are going to jump right.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Speaking of all good in the hood.
Yes.
Speaking of all good in the hood. So, you know my Squeaky Bum Time series?
Yes, sir.
I saw what might be the most cringeworthy moment ever on a drum corps field. Go back and watch when I was showing 2004 Spirit of Atlanta. Yeah. Yes, in the middle of the show, they stop and shout Straight Outta Compton. They are the most un-Straight Outta Compton drum and bugle corps in the history of life. They shouted Straight Outta Compton. I about fell out of my chair laughing.
That is hilarious and endearing all at the same time. I don't even know what to say to that. Yeah, because dude, unless you're marching VK, they're not even in Compton. They're in Southern County. They're in Orange County. They were in Orange County. Yeah. You know, they're the closest you could get.
So. Now, Straight Out of the Hood though was Freelancers 1987, where we did 10 to 10s. Well, we had a weird season that year, so we did some 10 to 10s at Sac State, but because the corps was basically broke, when we went to LA, we stayed in LA for like 2 weeks, and we stayed at Pomona High School.
Oh, Pomona! Yeah, I know where Pomona is. I used
rough as a bear's ass. There it was.
A friend of mine taught one of the high schools there.
Well, I'll tell you what the funny thing is now our LA people will probably find this quite funny. So there we are. I'm a kid never been to LA in my life. I was like 16, something like that. And here we are at Pomona High School. And one night after we'd been there for like 10 days, it had rained overnight. And we came out to the practice field the next morning and there was mountains, specifically Mount Baldy. And I was like, where'd those come from? I had no idea that there was mountains around LA.
Because of the smog.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The smog. Yes, that's one of the glorious things about living in the Inland Empire. And that's what they call it down there, is the Inland Empire. And now, the news.
The news.
Okay, so there's quite a bit going on, and I've been seeing a lot of posts in Reddit about people like, what do? I don't have a spot. This is what you do. Go to dci.org/news and look for open spots, because they're here. And they're, did you know where that graphic they always put up of like how many spots are available? I can never find that darn thing.
It's usually on their Facebook page.
Yeah, I'll have to look there. But if you look here, I mean, look at this. Let's see here. Battalion has open positions, brass and color guard. All you have to do is go to the camp next weekend, And the battalion is an up and coming corps. They're really good. They have a lot of good stuff going on. I really love their show concept, I think, for this year. So definitely take a look there.
And we keep saying, look, there's a whole bunch of people that watch our stuff, so there's got to be somebody, at least one person in Utah, watching our shows. So if you're connected to the battalion in any way, we'd love to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you on battalion. Anybody from battalion, like staff, anybody. Okay, so let's look. Okay, I'm gonna go through all of the open positions first, and then we'll kind of circle back because there are some show stuff we're gonna look at. I don't want to cross paths here, but they have Blue Stars has a banquet on their 60th anniversary banquet. So if you're a member of Blue Stars, you probably know about that. Limited edition merchandise featuring imagery from the Blue Coats 2024 production. Do we know what their production is? Did we cover that?
Yeah, we covered it last week.
Okay.
I think.
We can come back. We'll bring it up because I should have clicked on that.
I know that they're playing some of the same music as Mandarins this year, and people are also losing their ever-loving minds because all of the show reveal stuff for Blue Coats this year is in red, not blue.
Yes. Okay, so I didn't pull up Crossman's show, so I'll definitely have to pull that one up. Okay, so Guardians has openings for drum major. That's interesting. Usually people go right for the drum major spots. Jersey has limited number of positions still open in the guard. Madison even has color guard openings. So a lot of color guard openings, it seems like. Interesting. River City has open positions, brass and color guard. So like I said, you can find them. You can find these positions. Just go here. You're going to cover the all age, so we'll go back to the top here. So let's go over some show reveals.
So if I may real quick, I just went and had a look. Blue Coats, we did cover them about 3 episodes ago.
Gotcha.
They dropped their stuff quite early. Remember we talked about Sonlux and all that stuff? And
that's right. Yeah.
And I said I don't like Sonlux. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, here's a.
That's just because I'm old and grumpy.
Okay, so one thing is when we play videos on here, we're no longer going to play the audio because they just play hype music underneath them, and we always get demonetized. So we're not doing that anymore because we barely make enough money anyway. So we're not going to do this anymore. But this is just a kind of like an update on Santa Clara. Then we'll get into the show reveals. Just kind of some, once again, a hype video. I'll put some cool music underneath it. So that's actually
some cool license-free music.
That's right. But it's just kind of amazing. Right. Like they were gone a whole year and they just come back like nothing happened, which is cool.
Well, isn't that surprising? I mean, the infrastructure is already there. You know?
It's not surprising to me. I just think it's a cool thing.
And don't forget that while they didn't come out last year, they did pay their staff. Their staff was paid to stick around. So the infrastructure was there. I mean, and as long as you've got, especially that percussion staff, you're going to attract talent. There's no question.
Exactly.
And the name is going to attract talent as well. Look, anybody who thinks that the Santa Clara Vanguard is going to be fighting for a finalist spot this year, I'll tell you right now, you're crazy. They're going to be a firm mid-pack top 12 corps.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't anticipate that there's going to be a great deal of drop off. Not only that, but let's not forget as well that Santa Clara's going to benefit from the cadets' loss. We already know that they've picked up a bunch of staff from the cadets. They're like, and when staff happens, kids tend to follow staff. So, and the cadets weren't exactly a bad drum corps last year. So
no, very good actually. Yeah, very good, very traditional cadets. So let's.
So yeah, to see Santa Clara going from strength to strength is not at all surprising. And look, I know that earlier on, I've been in the past. I have been pretty harsh on Santa Clara. And I don't think that was unwarranted either, if I'm brutally honest.
No, it was not.
But that being said, I also wish that nothing but that Santa Clara will come out and be Santa Clara. I just hope to
Exactly.
God, I just hope to God they don't go back down the route that they were doing in like 2019 when they followed up the most epic drum corps show in the world, Babylon, with whatever the hell that was in 2019. Which, by the way, that is actually on the list of is on the list of cores on our wheel of death, which we'll get to later on.
Oh gosh, that show. I mean, the
I hate
concept
that show. I
wasn't
hate every minute of that show.
the concept of it wasn't horrible to me. It was the execution and the pajamas. The
Oh my
pajamas
God,
just
the
killed it for me. Why would you put? I mean, and I think even the core was like, "What is this? Like, why are we?" Because they went from those epic uniforms because those were epic because it fit the show theme. It looked nice and sleek, and it was like very much utopian, which is kind of the idea they were going for, right? Utopian, very kind of just bland colors, but they all match. They have barcodes on them. Look cool, right? Then they go to the purple pajamas. What the hell was that?
Speaking of Babylon,
And the
speaking of Babylon,
sousaphone. I'm sorry, no sousaphones belong on a drum corps field.
now look,
No
Justin, you and I
sousaphones.
have listen. You and I have in the past maybe had our disagreements about instrumentation. I don't mind trombones. I don't even mind trumpets. I don't mind seeing a concert French horn or a concert euphonium. But sousaphones belong nowhere near a damn drum corps field. End of discussion. I don't care if that makes me sound like like a grumpy old man shouting from my lawn. Get your damn sousaphones out of here. They don't belong here.
That's right. Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn with that sousaphone.
Okay, so we're going to watch the show reveal of Mandarins. Once again, I'm not going to play music underneath it. So let's watch Mandarins here.
I'll
This is
step off my soapbox now.
Now this is a cool concept. So it's kind of going to be like a masquerade ball, which is kind of cool.
It's New Orleans themed, really, is what it is.
It seems to be like masquerade ball. I think is the kind of the concept. So maybe like they're hiding something or agape.
So
that's that piece you're talking about.
Agape is being played by is it agape or agape? I don't know, but anyway, it's being played by Bluecoats this year as well. So it'll be interesting though to see two top end drum corps playing the same piece of music as well in the same year.
Some trombone shorty.
Trombone shorty, love it.
Lie to me, okay.
I've got a total platonic man crush on trombone shorty.
Yeah, so it seems like you're right, it's New Orleans, it's kind of like masquerade ball kind of thing.
Some really cool imagery as well, though.
I don't even know how to say it. Corée?
Yeah, it's funny. I live in the UK next door to France. I should be able to at least speak a little bit of French, and I don't.
Well, you know, you need to get it together, my friend. Okay, so now we have the Blue Devils. The Blue Devils, and they have a whole thing on YouTube. They have like they do full productions when they do their show reveals. They put some money into this.
I think we should be pretty safe with this one because it is original music, isn't it?
Well, it depends what they put underneath it. So I don't know. Yeah, a lot of the
chance?
I know. I ain't taking no chances. So there's like a full synopsis.
Not unless I want to edit the damn thing, eh?
Yeah, because we'll have to cut it out, and then it's kind of pointless.
Sure.
So, but there's a whole thing on here. So this is the music. A lot of it's by Dave Glide, which is one of their arrangers. So a lot of good stuff on here. I am not familiar with any of these other artists. I have no clue. So basically, it's a show about the romantics, like their philosophy and stuff like that. So that should be kind of interesting. It's going to be colorful. Oh, they already have merch out. Look at this.
So when do they win DCI this year? At what point?
Well, we'll see because I don't know.
I mean, have they already won this year? Or I'm just whether I bother renewing my flow marching and all that stuff.
I don't know because they just seem to show up and then take it. Last year they were really, really good though. So I don't have a problem with 2022. We all can
You know,
disagree on that, or agree or disagree on that. I don't think 2022 they should have won it, but I'm not a judge,
the
so
thing about Blue Devils though is now I am a big Blue Devils fan. There's no, I've never hidden that fact. That being said, I will recognize the fact that I wouldn't say that I've been bored by any Blue Devils shows, but I would like to see them take a chance. I know that they have a formula that they know works, you
yeah,
know. And as much as, for instance, I didn't like last year's Blue Coats show, I respect the hell out of the Blue Coats for trying something different, for trying something that's really pushing that boundary. Same with the likes of Mandarins and so on and so forth. Phantom Regiment as well. You know, they came out looking like Phantom Regiment, but they sure as hell sounded a lot different. You know, I mean, if you'd have told me 5 years ago that Phantom Regiment was going to be playing Muse, I'd have been what? So, and that's, I suppose, my big complaint about the Blue Devils is every year it has been quite same old, same old.
yeah.
And I'd like to see something different.
And I think that started. Was it 19 that they kind of started that pattern? Because in 18, what did they do in 18? I can't remember.
2018, just give me a second, I'll tell you.
Because I think 18, I actually liked 2018. Was it Nighthawks or was that 17 or
That was
16?
not, no, 18 was Ghostlight, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was a great show. So that's
Great
what I mean.
show.
That's what you mean by taking
But it,
risks. They took risks with that show. They did stuff that was just kind of off the wall, weird, but they executed it really well. I mean, like the foot thing with the shoes on the those table kind of
mm,
things at angles. To me, that was a really really great Blue Devil show. But then in 19 and then 21 or 22 and 23, it's just kind of like I don't know. It was just kind of
I mean, so you look here, 23, the cutouts, 22, Tempest Blue, basically the same show, you know. Uh, you got Ghostlight in 19, which I think was different enough. You know, plus also we had, let's not forget as well that we had some Britney Spears in that show as well. You know,
yeah.
um, prior to that though, 18 Dreams and Nighthawks, great show. And when I am not saying that any of these aren't fantastic drum corps shows, but it's almost like they've just gone into the Blue Devils pick a piece of music and make it a show. If it's like this bucket of stuff that works. So, I mean, looking at the Blue Devils to me, I think that the last time the Blue Devils really, really, really took a chance and tried something different was with Fellini-esque in
Mm,
2014. You
yeah.
know, took us to Art Nouveau France. You know, and then, but or maybe constantly even go back further, constantly risking absurdity. You know,
Yeah, that was a very off the wall show. And they took a
so
lot of heat for that show because people really didn't understand it or like it. But it was to me it was they were pushing the envelope, which is what drum corps is supposed to be, right? Pushing the envelope,
well,
you
that
know.
was also 2008. So that was that weird time in drum corps as well. So we've now got electronics in. We've got any key. We're starting to experiment. You know, when we first got electronics, we went absolutely nuts with narration and stuff like that.
Ugh,
You know,
ugh.
around 2008, 2009, I think is when we started to kind of figure out how to use all of those tools in a way. So anyway, let's have a look at this.
All right. So once again, I'm not playing the music because I'm not chancing it. Just so we can have an idea. And it's just kind of like their their production, what they do every year. They have the members in the promo video here.
It looks like they're marching about 97 guard.
Yeah.
Their guard is always so good, though.
Yeah, very good.
When I watched this the first time, I watched it so closely because I was looking to see because they do have this knack as well every from time to time of showing you what the uniform looks like in these videos as well. But
Yeah, it doesn't
nothing
look
in
like
this
they
one,
did
I'm
it
afraid.
here. Yeah, they didn't do it here.
I mean,
Okay.
I like the imagery. I don't know much about the music. I'll certainly go away and do a bit of research on it. But um, I'm sure it's a Blue Devils show. I'm sure I'm going to like it. I just wish they'd try something a little bit. I just wish they'd take a bit of a risk from time to time.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Crossman's show. And once again, I'm not playing any of the music.
First time I've seen this.
Same here. So it looks like they're doing jazz. It's Tom Jones, right? Okay. Wow, they're going old school jazz. Holy crap.
Aren't they, though? Jesus.
So what? Oh my gosh. Round midnight? Nine Tunisia. Oh my god, I love Nine Tunisia.
Blues in the Night. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're going old. They're going like 50s jazz.
They're playing the jazz that I kind of expect the Blue Devils to play, really. You know.
Interesting.
I love it. I mean, and the funny thing is, for me with Crossman, I've always thought of Crossman in that sort of elevator music / modern jazz kind of, the Spyro Gyra and that realm of jazz. I certainly wouldn't have expected that.
That is, yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. Yeah, and I think it's their 50th anniversary. That's awesome.
It is.
So now last year, I really thought,
come out in a traditional uniform, please, for the love of all that's holy. It's the 50th anniversary. Come out in a traditional uniform. Don't make Bones cry in the back stands.
Exactly. I was really impressed with Crossman last year. I was really impressed with them. So
I thought they should have made finals.
Yeah, well, there was a group of cores that are all grouped together that could have done it. So
I thought the wrong one made finals, and that's no disrespect to the guys and the girls in the Blue Knights, but I don't think that show deserved to be in finals.
Yeah, I think Crossman should have been in finals, but we're not judges, but we don't know what's so. All right, so Phantom Regiment. Let me make this a little bit bigger because this is kind of tiny. Sorry about that.
So this is the alumni corps here.
No, this is captioned. Oh, the alumni performance. Yeah. So Jeff Prosperity, he's a judge, right?
He is.
Yeah.
He's also one hell of a snare drum player too.
Yep. Kevin Rabon, Lee Hansen, and Bob Smith. Boston Crusaders welcome Tom Santino back to the core brass staff. Okay. So I'll make sure I put this up on the in the description so you guys can go back and look at that. But looks like he was part of the staff in the 2000s. So, Oh, cool. Okay, awesome. So lots of good stuff.
Can we talk about Small Age?
Let's talk about Small Age. I'm going to stop sharing so you can share because sharing is caring.
I'm not going to share. I don't need to share. I'm just
all right. Well, let's keep rolling here.
Really to show.
Yeah.
So Cincinnati Tradition is inviting followers to visit a local art exhibit, the proceeds of which will benefit the Corps. You can check out their Facebook page for more information. The Columbus Saints have 3 open positions at the moment for bass drum and a handful. Wow, 3 open positions for bass drum. That's like most of the whole bass drum line.
That is the bass drum line.
And a handful of brass positions available at its 2024 Corps. Those interested can attend the Corps camp, which is today in Groveport, Ohio. Today being the 18th of May when we're recording this. This just goes back to what Justin said at the beginning of the show. You know what? If you want to do drum corps, there are options out there. It may not be the option that you thought about when you decided to go on this journey of marching in drum and bugle corps, but if you didn't make it in your preferred corps, these guys would love to have you, and they're under no illusions that you're not going to go back and try out for Blue Devils again next year. So, Fusion Corps has shared some photos from their recent camp in Newton, New Jersey. Governors has an immediate opening in their bass drum section. Seems that bass drummers are kind of needed in all age.
Yeah.
And we've got let's see, Skyliners have open positions in all sections of its 2024 core. Now, this sounds like perhaps maybe that the sky is falling, but that isn't the case. In all age, this is pretty common, you know, for them to be filling spots right up to showtime. But I just think it's really, really important that the drum corps community gets on board with all age, because had DCI not stepped in, DCA probably wouldn't have lasted another year, and we would have just lost all these cores. You know,
Yeah.
this is an opportunity for DCI to go into markets, you know, geographical markets that they haven't traditionally been in. So I think it's really important that we get behind these. And I'll finally, I found one other one, which I'll have a look at in a second. But the Reading Buccaneers, is it? I live in the UK. We pronounce it Reading. Is it Reading or Reading?
I think it depends where you live in the United States. It could be Reading or it could be Reading. I don't know.
Well, I live in the UK, so we pronounce that Reading here. So the Reading Buccaneers has their first public performance today in Robisonia, Pennsylvania. Basically, the Blue Devils of the all-age world right there. I do believe they have quite a bit of connection with the Bluecoats, if I'm not mistaken. But they put out some really, really good stuff. Maybe we can have a little bit of a snippet of a little bit of some of their show here through the magic of editing. I don't know.
Who again? Who?
The Reading Buccaneers.
Reading. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Their show last year was great. I don't know if you've seen it.
I don't think I have. We probably need to do a segment on the all age.
Yeah, I think we ought to. It's another good excuse for me to get Kids Grow Scouts back on the channel. And finally, I'm going to finish up with the White Sabres. Has announced their title of their show. All it is a title of the show, and that is Aurora.
Okay.
So imagery looks like it's pictures of the Northern Lights, so it ought to be interesting to see what they've got going on. Again, it's a core that puts out really good product every year. You know, let's not kid ourselves. You know, when you're looking at all age, you're not looking at DCI world-class top 12 level. You're never going to get that. They don't rehearse as much. Their members tend to be a lot younger. When we talk about all age these days, what we're not talking about is a bunch of old farts like me and Justin. You know, it's actually mostly high school kids that are doing all age now. So I think it's vitally important that we do support the all age circuit, because that's where a lot of the next marchers in DCI are coming out of. So, and that is it for the all age wrap up. I'll have a very quick look as well at Sound Sport. And so Arsenal has open positions in its brass color guard and front ensemble sections, and they have a rehearsal this weekend. And then our old friends, the Skyriders from Hutchinson, Kansas, where they belong. For those who don't know, Skyriders, they did spent 2 years, I think it was, in DeSoto, Texas. And that was just weird.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's just weird.
That was a time when a lot of corps were going to Texas. Isn't Crossman still in Texas?
Yeah, Crossman went to Texas, but it was quite a while after that. So it was around 2000, 2002 time frame that Crossman went to San Antonio. But Skyriders will be hosting 2 days of rehearsals, the 15th and the 16th in Hutchinson. And the ensemble will also host a performance on the 16th of July. Skyriders are coming back, folks. I am so over the moon about them, even though I hated them in 1988. It's like seeing an old friend come back. So, and that is it for my part of the news.
All right. Well, that is the news, everybody. Thank you, Kanan, for that. And we're going to go ahead and switch gears here, and you're going to see the breaking news go away, and then we are going to be doing our mystery show. So
Spinning
here we go.
Wheel of Death. I've been calling it the Wheel of Death, but you may have noticed that somebody else has decided to join us finally. Hi, Jen. And she's come up with a better name for this wheel, and that is the Wheel of Hate. We don't necessarily hate them. It's what Reddit hates. So anyway, we're going to spin the wheel now and see what our fate beholds. Is there anything on there that you guys are particularly excited about watching?
Ooh.
Excited? Was that 2017 Blue Coat Show, the Jagged Edge one?
Yes.
Yes, which I don't know why people
would... excited to talk about that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that show, so I don't know what there's to hate on there. All right, so there we go.
I hope for the algorithm that we get 2018 Madison, Heart and Soul. Right, here we go.
And
just because I'm like
I'd like to have a modern for to watch.
Here we go.
Being that we did 92 last time.
Oh!
Oh, yeah!
You got your wish.
Here I go. No, I will be nice.
2017 Blue Coats it is, folks. Right, so...
Right on.
So as I said to you guys, I've done you a solid. I've gotten rid of 2014 Cadets for you. That's coming in a future episode from me. You guys, I had to bail on you last week, and you guys did, to your credit, manage to stay positive about Santa Clara Vanguard 1992. You did manage to stay positive for about 2 minutes, so let's see if we can get to 3 minutes on this one. I happen to really like this show, actually. So, just every time I watch this show, however, I'm just waiting for somebody to die.
Yeah, I know, right?
To fall off the ramp. All right, let me
Justin,
pull it up.
Go ahead and find that thing.
We're supposed to be watching 2017 along with us. But unfortunately, after we put it up, the entire video was blocked. So we had to remove all of it. Every single bit of 2017 Blue Coats. So if you want to watch it, you're going to have to go find it on the interwebs and watch it. I am going to keep the part where we talk about them after. We talk about the scores and stuff like that. So I do apologize, but there's nothing we can do. It's either that or you guys don't get to watch our cool video. So here we go. We're going to cut to us discussing after watching the video. Yeah, true that. All right.
I mean, it's just, I don't hate on the show as much as I thought I would. Partly because I had it mixed up with a different show, which, if we ever spun the wheel and that show showed up, you could just put that on the wheel. Put 2018 on the wheel.
Right, so Jen hates the 2018 Blue Coats. Got it.
She doesn't hate it. She just likes it immensely.
Oh, no, Justin. I'm driving a bus right now. And that bus, I am driving a bus, and that bus is bearing down on her hard now. That's what happens when you're late.
That's what happens when you get your times mixed up and you forget. It is this show. It's a fine show. It's a fifth place show.
It's a fine show. It's like a fine wine.
And the guard is great. The guard is talented. The guard is very, sexy to look at if that's your thing. There's a lot of people that argue like, how sexy do we make color guards that have 16-year-olds in them? And
I think it is a valid argument.
Yeah, no. Oh, but Regiment 17 got taken to task, that Phantasm show, for objectifying a young guard. So I try to be a little aware of that, but they, it's just one of those things where the prop is so obtrusively in my face the whole time that I can't, and it just gets a little boring. I mean, like, I can see these people, the first time they ran down that ramp, I was like, huh, and by the first time they went through and did a visual thing, huh, and then the 20th time they did it, I was like, okay, where's my popcorn? And that's the problem with this show for me, is they musically sound great. I could listen to the show ad nauseum, but visually I'm just kind of done with it by about the 4-minute mark.
And to me, I think the music's kind of boring.
I think it's all very samey.
Yeah.
I don't think it's boring. I think it's very samey. There's not enough contrast in the music, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, the through line is very like static instead of like up, down.
That
lower,
is true.
Hard,
That is true. It's kind of the same all the way
level.
across the board.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's a good level, but
You know, they played really well. They're, you know, Blue Coast Hornline is amazing. They've been amazing for 20 years, something like that. But I agree. I kind of agree with your assessment of the static prop. After a while, it just, like, visually, it's in the way. You know, and maybe that's why it's the only year they ever did it. Because after that, they're like, maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm like jumping around here. Let's go to back.
Well, 2017 Blue Devils was the throwback show. Metamorph.
Metamorph.
That was a good show.
The thing is when I watch Metamorph, for me, I think the moment of Metamorph is when the guard comes out with the Pegasus wings. And, you know, it's just one of those things that people of a certain age, that would have just got you right in the feels.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
To me, that show was a brilliant show. That was a cool show. I really love that show.
It was more than just enough. It was. Oh yeah, Ouroboros. That was a really weird show.
That was such a good show. Okay, I loved that.
So Ouroboros, the brass line had a small brass ensemble that wore a different color uniform to the rest of the brass line. And I remember that brass ensemble was mic'd. So essentially you had the small brass ensemble with the rest of the horn line is kind of like a backing band type thing.
The issue I have with that show is, I'm glad you brought that ensemble up, is because this was when we were learning how to mix speakers. And, you know, when they really got into amplification in drum corps, was because that ensemble was mic'd to come out of the main speakers. And so every time they played, I had no idea where they were on the field. No idea. And that to me was such a disconnect. And they've learned, and everybody has learned since then, that maybe that's not the way to do it. That's the only complaint I ever had about that show, was that I did not know where to look to find their ensemble, because they had them channeled in through the main speakers.
Yeah. And then, of course, looking at Carolina Crown, it is. So you had Little Fugue G minor, Crown Imperial, blah, 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 blah. All completely irrelevant, because the only thing that I remember about that show is that the closer was pretty epic. That was it.
I know.
I remember Carolina Crown 2017, that they were running around like their asses were on fire, and the crowd absolutely ate them up. The only other thing I remember about that particular drum corps was watching one of the Crown brass warm-ups where their chord progression, you know, the drop the hammer Crown thing, where their chord progression. Yeah, where their chord progression was the Little Fugue in G minor, and it was just one of the most beautiful sounds I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
this whole year, zero recollection of the show. I'm looking it up right now. I'm like, what?
Which is why it goes back to what I'm saying. I do think that drum corps that aren't called the Blue Devils that win a championship do tend to be treated a bit more harsh in that following year. You know, I actually would even advocate for. Now, Justin, you may want to throw me off a bridge when I say this. I would even advocate, let's go back to 1988 and do a random draw.
Oh, hell no.
What?
Hell no.
Oh my God, no.
Hell no. That was so rigged. That was so fake.
You just brought me right back into this conversation. What? No.
I love the fact that I said that and it was just dead silence for about 5 seconds while both of your brains were going, did he really just bloody say that?
Conversation.
Because that was a rig so that the Madison Scouts could go on last. It was a total rig, and everybody knows it. And that's a huge controversy, man. We need to talk about that on this podcast.
Oh my gosh! The lady actually made a statement later explaining why it was that she was pointing to things. I can't remember what it was really bad.
She pointed at the number to take.
She pointed at the one to take.
This one right here.
I think, yeah.
and you know what, Malagueña, one of some of the most epic 4 minutes in the history of Drum Corps International. And I can't remember a single damn thing before that happened in that show.
That's what I said. I think I said that something like we were talking about. I said that last week. Is that the Malagueña starts at the 6-minute mark of their show, and nobody can tell me a thing about the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But yeah.
Yeah, the first.
Anyway, should we?
Forgettable.
Yeah.
Should we start looking at wrapping up with the British swear word of the day?
Okay, hold on 1 second here. We shall. Let's go to the British swear word of the day.
now the British swear word of the day by the tuber.
The British swear word of the day is fanny. Now, in America, the fanny is your rear end. Yes? And in the UK, we call the fanny a bum. However, in the UK, we call what you call in America the fanny, we call that the bum. However, in the UK, a fanny is a lady's front bum.
Front bum.
Yes. So imagine now, 20 odd years ago when I first moved here and I was wearing what they refer to as a bum bag here. And my wife says, "What's that?" I said, "It's a fanny pack." Yeah. Means something completely different here today. So that's your Britishism of the day.
That's
Fanny.
And that was the British swear word of the day.
Should we say our goodbyes? What are you working on, Justin? Have you got any epic videos coming out?
Yes, I do. Actually, I just finished editing and processing my 1990 series called My Faves of the 90s. So I'm going to be putting up that series, and it's going to... Basically, what I do is I pick a show that I really liked for each year of the 90s, and then I give you a little bit of information on it in history of that year, and then we watch the video. So it's kind of cool because it shows that you may not necessarily think of, because it's been so long ago, 30 years ago, but you go, oh yeah, I remember that show, or so hopefully a little trip down memory lane. So,
and I'm working on a couple of things. So I'm working on my reaction to 2014 cadets, because I'm a team player and I didn't want to shaft you two with that thing. And then I'm also working on a Kanan's Time in Drum Corps series. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it as a series or just one video with some snippets of each. But I'm going to take you through all the corps that I marched in. So 87 through 92 freelancers. If I can find 2004 and 5 Cheshire Cadets here in the UK. But then 2016, 18, and 19 Kids Grove Scouts as well. So... and it's just an excuse for me to put Kids Grove Scouts on here, really. What's
Did you
that?
play tuba with Kids Grove? You played tuba with Kids Grove, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Yeah, I played tuba at Kids Grove. Baritone at Freelancers and Kids. So I ended up playing tuba by accident. So I was actually, when I first moved here, I lived in a different part of the town I live in now. And there was, I heard a drum corps rehearsing off in the distance. And it's a bit weird because this town that I live in, I've mentioned this before, but the town that I live in, at one point had like 5 competing drum corps in it. And to give you an idea of the size, it's about the size of Rockford. It's not a big place, okay? A couple 100,000, I don't even know if Rockford has that many in it. But at one point in the 80s, there was like 5 drum corps in this town. So anyway, I heard this drum corps rehearsing, and I was a little bit bored, popped over to introduce myself, and I ended up going there ostensibly to teach them marching. And then we lost our tuba player. And as it turned out, there was no kids in the corps that were actually big enough just to pick the damn thing up. And in the UK, the activity is all age. So I said, well, I'll step in. And then, yeah, that ended up me marching 2004, 2005, and then moving on to Kids Grove in 16. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's too many years. Too many years.
Believe me, my hips and my knees tell you it's too many years as well. I remember
you talking about that.
I did probably march 2 years too many. I'm paying for it now.
Oh.
I don't know how these there's Blue Devil lifers. So they have they start in Blue Devil C, then go to Blue Devils B, and then march Blue Devils A. This one guy, all the way up. All the way down.
I've seen that jacket, yeah.
It's like 24 years or 20 years or something like that. It's just insanity.
That's just
or 18 years.
We had that situation at Regiment too, because we had Phantom Regiment, we had Phantom Regiment Cadets, and even for a while we had the pre-cadets. So I, like my CO in 93, she had started in pre-cadets. They think, hi, Cheryl. And went all the way through to 93. So I think she marched from like 85 to 93, something ridiculous like that. Yeah.
At Kids Grove, you weren't even really considered to not be a rookie until you've been there about a decade. I mean, it was nuts. We had a bass drummer. I think his name was Adam, that marched something like 37 years. I mean,
Jeez.
literally, he'd been in the Corps for 37 years. We had a tuba player called Keno who did like 29 years, something like that. So, and the thing that was cool about Kids Grove is that it was truly an all-age activity over here. In that, and this is stuff I'll talk about when I do my video on it. But the thing that was cool was that we literally had generations on the field at the same time, like grandparent, kid, and grandkids, all on the same field at the same time with the same drum corps. It was nuts.
I mean, that's cool. That's cool, but there's been a little bit of chatter in the Midwest about trying to get like an all-star or a combine group together, an alumni group, and do something like the Macy's Day or the Rose Bowl or something like that, where it would be people from all of the Midwest combine corps. And that would be great because that would give me an opportunity to march with my brother. That would be super fun. But parade is about all I got in me besides, doing the alumni corps in 26. But it's people ask me why I never went on to instruct in drum corps or anything like that, and I don't have a desire to be on tour anymore. I think I might go out in June and do a weekend of spring training on the food truck or something, a sewing crew, but that's all I got in me. I'm like, I don't want to be on a bus at all.
Well, it's funny because I went
on the coaches now.
I went to Kids Grove in 16 just because I wanted to see if I could do it again. And I marched 16, and I was actually pretty happy to say, right, that's it, I'm done. And then they announced our show in 17, and we were doing Les Miserables. And I was like, shit, I've got to march 2017 now. So
one more year.
One more day.
One more
year.
Oh my God!
My knees can just about handle it.
Mine couldn't, man. And I really wanted to march. I almost marched Renegades, San Francisco.
Justin, I recall trying to recruit you to get your ass to come over to the UK and march with Kids Grove, as I recall.
Yeah, I couldn't go. There's no way. I was going to march Renegades, but I was just like, the cost at the time wasn't expensive, but it was like getting there every weekend. And it was back when I first moved to California, so I really didn't have a solid job and the money and stuff like that. So,
I'll touch on that, and then we'll finish up here. But I'll touch on that real quick. And I mentioned in the news segment, I think it's really important that that as an activity, we really get behind the all age part of DCI now. As I said, without DCA probably would have ceased to exist after this year, if it had even made it to this year. And it's not your old men and old ladies marching in drum corps. It is high school kids, and it's generally speaking mostly young high school kids as well. But that being said, you mentioned the weekend thing, Justin. They are still weekend drum corps, and what you don't realize until you've actually marched in weekend drum corps is how much information gets crammed down your throat in a short amount of time. I mean, we would literally learn our entire show in 3 weeks, in 3 weekends, as far as, because here in the UK, especially in the north of the UK, we couldn't even get on the field before April, May at the earliest, and then of course we had to deal with all the NIMBYs who didn't understand what drum corps was here over in these parts of the world. So we would literally go out on a Saturday and learn half the show in a day. So
crazy.
I just think
I don't know how this choice of doing it. I went and did the 2016 alumni corps in Rockford, and about halfway through rehearsal, I was like, what am I doing? I chose to do this. And I'm gearing up for the 2026, like, what am I doing? Like, I'm going to go through this abuse at what age? No.
So
I'm going to do it.
So
like a
anyway,
drug.
So we have got about 2 hours on here now, Justin. So you've got your work cut out for you. So shall we call it?
We shall call it.
I feel like we're chatting now.
Would you like me to do the honors?
Absolutely.
So as I say on my videos, no matter who you're doing it with, no matter where you're doing it, no matter how you're doing it, just make sure that you March on.
March on. And don't forget to subscribe.
March on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Subscribe.
Subscribe
That's
first,
pretty-
then march on, and then you can
Subscribe again.
Subscribe again. Sure.
And share with your friends.
Share with your friends. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.